Hello, Internet. Hello, friends. How are we this evening? Hope everybody's having a good Thursday. I'm a little low energy tonight. I'm just going to be real with you guys. I'm a little low energy. I'm going to slam some caffeine in between video clips here because, I'm just feeling sleepy today. I did a run earlier and it sucked. Today is one of those low energy days. How are you, folks? Let's see. Give you guys a bit to get in here. Make sure I'm streaming on all the platforms over here. Looks like we're good on X. Let's see. Good over here on Rumble. If you guys are over there on Rumble, come and jump in the chat. Say hi. You know how it helps my self-esteem. All right. Looks like we're good over there. And looks like we're good on YouTube. Even though nobody cares about YouTube. Nobody likes YouTube. All right, folks. We got a lot of the protest stuff to talk about, but I found another one of those. Hey, Danger, how you doing? I found another one of those crowds on demand type organizations. So we're gonna go to their website and read a little bit about what they have to offer. They look even more nefarious than the other one, the crowds on demand. These ones are called it's called Protest Now or something. Let's see, what are they called? They're called Demand Protest. These guys, they're way more like open about what they do as well. It's kind of gnarly. They're kind of gnarly. So, yep. All right. Yeah, you guys. I honestly don't know. I don't know how much longer I can keep doing this. I'm gonna do everything I can to make it, but I don't know if I can. I'm not a real influencer, you guys. Just so you know, I'm not one of these like big podcasters that actually makes money from doing this. I'm just barely scraping by, and I don't know if I'm going to make it. As much as I talk about don't leave California, stay and fight and all that, I don't know if I can anymore. I'm not going to live out of my car. I'm not going to do it. And even if I did decide to, I'm not going to lose my dogs. I'm praying for a miracle over here, folks. I'm trying to start a brand, a clothing company, but that won't be off the ground for a bit. So I'm sort of praying for a miracle over here, praying for a job call. I'm number 8 on the books at the Union Hall. You guys know I'm a sound and communications guy, and before COVID, I built conference rooms. Nobody's doing that anymore. I built conference rooms for tech companies, where everybody gathered in a space. Yeah, that my business has been destroyed. And the only union calls there are right now that I'm noticing are only government jobs. Government is the only people that are building because government policy has destroyed the trades, and there's no jobs. The only jobs seem to be for government and government contracts. It's private companies that'll go do government contracts, but the tech companies aren't building, and the tech companies in the Bay Area are what kept everyone busy, and they're not building. They're not doing tenant improvements. It's bad right now. A bunch of office spaces are empty. That's what, electricians, sound and communications guys, IT guys, the guys that are actually doing like hardware stuff. That's what we did. And there's not a lot of work. And in residential, building smart homes and stuff, that's what I did before I got canceled for refusing to wear a mask and ended up on Tucker and all that and started talking shit, and nobody will hire me in that industry now. So nobody will hire me in residential, and the unions are just not busy. There's just, you pay your dues and there's no work. Electricians and linemen, they're still, there seems to be good work for them, but sound and communications is just dead. Nobody's building conference rooms. Nobody's building video walls and distributed audio and all that kind of shit. So it's a cold game in these streets, folks. And yeah, it's getting rough. So if I can't figure it out, I'm going to have to bail. I'm going to have to leave. And I really don't want to. I don't even know how I'll do it. I'll have to go and I won't even say what I'm going to have to go do, but it'll be leaving California, unfortunately. And I don't want to do that. California is my home. So yeah, that's the deal. All right. So just giving you guys a heads up. I'm little little stressed, just a little just trying to figure stuff out, So yeah, if you want to support the show, you know how. There's links in my bio, links in the show description here, and if you want, there's a little icon on my Twitter. You can tap that if you want to support the show. But that little icon on my Twitter account there, that's how you can support the show if you want to. So, all right, we'll leave it there. And I got a bunch of stuff that I want to get through tonight. Demand protest. These guys. I don't know if you guys have heard of these. You can Google them. You can go to their website, but this is demand protest. It's the same thing that I talked about a couple of episodes ago with crowds on demand. They do the same thing, and they seem to be more open about what they do. They don't seem to care about the image that they present. Like it's a shady thing to do, to say, yeah, we will provide you protesters and signs and all of this. They're a propaganda arm. It's for hire. It's sort of unbelievable. It still shocks me. I guess Rush Limbaugh has been talking about this for decades. I didn't know anything about it. I mean, we kind of all suspected it, that protesters were being hired and stuff, and hired by who? That's anybody's guess. A lot of people are saying that a lot of the pro-Palestinian protesters that you see right now are actually being hired by, Iran or Muslim groups or anything. There's a lot of other people that seem to think that it's actually the Israeli government hiring people and trying to infiltrate these groups and paint them in a bad light. People that'll go and say horrible things about Israel, so then Israel can point at them and say, look how horrible these people are. I mean, I think it's probably a little bit of both. And then there's probably a ton of people in there that are just like I was when I was a kid, where when I was in high school and when I was in college, where I could tell that everything's screwed up, that our government is corrupt, everybody's corrupt, everything's screwed up, but I didn't know how, and I didn't know why, and I was just mad, and I wanted to blame somebody, but I didn't know who to blame. And I think that's what a lot of these kids out there protesting are. That's what they are. They're pissed off that they recognize that they're never going to be able to buy a home. They recognize that everything is out of reach for them, and they're getting kind of nihilistic. Like they don't see a point in stuff. And that's why I don't see the value of making fun of these kids. Even the blue-haired liberal, we were all liberal, I think, when we were kids, and especially if you're from California, you're always kind of, when you're young and idealistic, you're kind of a liberal. And that's why I have a ton of sympathy for these kids that are out there protesting, even the ones that don't know what they're protesting, that they're just out there yelling because they're mad that everything's screwed up. They don't know what to do. So I sympathize with them. And I think making fun of them is probably the bad approach, especially MAGA. Anybody that's pro free speech right now has an opportunity to get through to these kids, has an opportunity to say, you know what? I may not agree with you, but I 100% agree with your right to speak. So people that are out there cheering for the cops to go and lock up all these kids, arrest these kids and stuff, this is very counterproductive. I mean, and when did you become anti-free speech? And we're talking about college campuses. I mean, how far back do protests on college campuses go? They kind of go hand in hand, and I mean, Kent College, remember Kent College back in the 60s, late 60s, early 70s, about the Vietnam War, and that girl got shot and killed because the National Guard was there and they started firing rubber bullets. And then one of the National Guardsmen actually fired a live round, and several live rounds, and killed one person at least, maybe more. But Neil Young disappeared into the woods and wrote a song about it. Ohio, 10 soldiers and Nixon coming. We're finally on our own. It was 4. 4 dead in Ohio. Yeah, that was a Neil Young song. It's actually a really good song. It kind of sucks that Neil Young went off the deep end. All right. Anyway, let's talk about demand protest. This organization here. So they are unassailable authenticity. Already just sounds nefarious right off the bat. We are strangists. I'm sorry. I'm tired tonight, folks. I'm low energy tonight. We are strategists mobilizing millennials across the globe with seated audiences and desirable messages. With absolute discretion a top priority, our objectives create convincing scenes that become the building blocks of massive movements. When you need the appearance of outrage, we are able to deliver. We are able to deliver it at scale while keeping your reputation intact. They're even more out there than this other group that we talked about last 2 episodes ago. They're when you need the appearance of outrage, we are able to deliver it at scale while keeping your reputation intact. What the hell is that? Are you kidding me? So then they got, all these links you can click on. I'm going to click on all of them. We're going to go through all of them. So demonstrations, movements, intelligence, and training. So let's start with demonstrations. We develop, recruit, manage, and execute your high-level objectives. Our trained operatives, they even refer to themselves as operatives. Our trained operatives can lead entire crowds or simply steer events in your favor. Oh, I guess you can't click on it. You can just highlight it. Okay. So movements, we have proven expertise required to expertly shape political, corporate, or public health perceptions. Okay. Intelligence, our operatives can embrace and steer existing organizations, providing you valuable insights about those involved and their future actions. Training, our strategists can train your organization in our methods of creating effective demonstrations and design the situations that will deliver your goals. Okay. Recruitment, our top priority is preventing any association back to you. Our operatives only know us, and we have a proven track record of maintaining secrecy. Directed action, we demand action of our operatives on the ground and provide them in-person support, create the scenes that will sway public opinion and perception without any guesswork. By taking every precaution, deniability, by taking every precaution, keeping your clients secret, and only hiring the best individuals, we can ensure that all actions will appear genuine to media and public observers. This is super freaking dirty, super nefarious. Let me go back to check the chat really quick here. Oh, there's a whole bunch of you guys in here now. T-Bone Tony, woohoo. Nice to see you, dude. Day of Reckoning, bought a lot of green tents. No shit, right? Occupy PLM edition. The original Occupy was 13 years ago. Yep, that's where I first like learned about Tim Pool was the Occupy stuff that he was doing. And I started following his stuff like really early on. And yeah. These college people were very elementary and middle school back then. This could be their Iraq war protest. I remember those back when. Yep. College ends in 2 to 4 weeks. They should have let it die out. I don't know. I mean, it might hit the streets at that point. So we'll see. I'm very curious to see where this goes, especially when college gets out. You guys over on the Rumble chat, jump in there and say hi if you're there. Let me get in a different view here. Put my big giant head on the screen here. There, I'm going to do that instead. I'm sure you guys aren't reading along with me anyway. I wouldn't be. All right, let's keep going here. So partner stories. We drive radical results. 93% of partners launch additional campaigns with us. This is from an unnamed 2016 presidential campaign. Huh? What? This is from unnamed 2016 presidential campaign, like the United States president campaign. Okay. We have seen some momentous changes as a result of our first 2 campaigns. It was astonishing to watch operatives go above and beyond, sometimes to their own detriment, to drive the story with the public. Sometimes to their own detriment. You mean like they broke the law? Like that's So a lot of these, this to me, this goes back to the George Floyd protests that you saw the bricks getting set up in random places, and you saw people lighting shit on fire and really trying to instigate rage. Like, do you guys fund that sort of thing too? Just curious. I mean, you guys are so secretive about it. This is from unnamed public health nonprofit, the executive director. Not only were we able to counter feel-good micro concepts held by millennials, we were able to drive a measurable decline in key metrics and introduce a powerful news story. Okay. All right. Should I write him a message? What should I write? It's got to be so. Okay, let's go to learn more here. Oh, that's all it is. Well, we go to services. Okay. All right. So their website's pretty limited. Yeah, okay. I've read you everything on their website pretty much. What's this? Okay. You can't click on this stuff on the bottom. Okay. 17 causes, 15 partners, 48 campaigns, 1,817 operatives. So they seem a little more low budget than the crowds on demand people. But I mean, the point is there's several organizations that do this type of thing that will, I mean, they don't seem to be, well, the one thing I'm noticing in common, I guess these guys aren't doing the communist fist. The crowds on demand company, they had the whole communist fist going for their symbolism crap that they had on screen. It was just a drawing of it, but you know, they were definitely showing like a left-wing leaning, but I would imagine that they will, if the money's right, they'll do any protest, whether it's right-wing, left-wing, even though you don't see right-wing protests. You just don't really see them. And the only one that you did see was J6. And that was a setup. I went over a whole bunch of stuff last episode, but J6 was undoubtedly a setup, especially, I mean, we read a couple of articles last episode, but that Zero Hedge article is really, really damning. The J6 footage that came out, where we only got half of it, there's still like 2 terabytes of footage that we haven't looked at. All of the known agent provocateurs in the crowd, you know, all sorts of nefarious stuff, the whole pipe bomb situation. J6 was a setup. And then they did the whole documentary, like with Adam Kinzinger and all the other douchebags that set up that committee to, you know, paint J6 in a certain way. They hired the NBC or I think it was an NBC like producer. They hired him to tell the story in a compelling way. That was even the way they put it. So I would imagine that this crowd, if they were, or this demand protest or crowds on demand, if you hit them up and they're like, hey, we want you guys to infiltrate this protest that's coming up, and we want you to paint them in a bad light, I would imagine they would do that as well. And to protect identities, covering your face is, I mean, even since before COVID, there's people covering their faces with, you know, masks and shit like that. So stuff is nefarious as all hell, guys. I mean, there's groups that'll do this. Everything that you see, not everything is as it seems. So North Side, let's go, bro. Nice to see you. RGS, good evening. You are here. Yep, thank you. RGS, yeah. If you guys are watching, go ahead and hit that like button. If you're watching over on X, please like, share, subscribe, all that good stuff. And yeah, if you're watching over on X and you want to support the show, go ahead and hit this button here up in my bio. If you guys want to support the show, that stuff always helps. So that little icon, there's links in my Twitter bio if you want to help out as well. All right, let's keep going here. Let's go over to this article from the Washington Free Beacon. So first off, I want to say that I don't know what's going on. Like, I don't know. I'm taking information that's out there and I'm showing you guys what I've found, and we'll try to work through it together. But yeah, I don't know what's going on. I can guess what's going on. I would imagine that the protests that you're seeing are there's all sorts of bad actors in these protests. I would imagine the majority of the people in the protests themselves are genuine people that are there trying to make a difference, even if they don't know exactly what they're protesting. They just shit's messed up and they want to yell and scream about it. I would imagine that's a lot of people there. They don't even know. They couldn't tell you where Israel or Palestine is. They couldn't tell you what Intifada means. They don't know what their demands are, all that kind of stuff, but they know things are messed up and they don't like it. And they want to yell and scream. So I would imagine that's a lot of it. And that's what makes these protests so malleable by these nefarious groups that, you know, if you're, well, they got a picture of him right here. If you're a George Soros type, and George Soros, known for shorting markets, that's how he's made his money, also notoriously considers himself a god and wants to short America. And if you read his book and his whole sort of ideology, he's not a Marxist, but he's definitely got strange leanings. And it would appear that George Soros wants to attack and, I mean, collapse America. He wants to attack everything that America's about, short America, watch it fall, and create a new system out of the ashes. That seems to be George Soros's objective. And you read his books, it's like that's kind of what he talks about. He talks about creating like this new way. It's like a globalist way where, you know, he's not a huge fan. I mean, he's not even necessarily anti-capitalist. That's the thing. If the new system he wants it to sort of rise spontaneously. He just wants to sort of nudge things in a direction that collapses the existing system. And then whatever arises from that, he's sort of good with, whether it's Marxist, whether it's capitalist, he's sort of good with whatever happens, as long as it happens naturally, even though he's the one that's collapsing the whole thing. Well, I'm not blaming George Soros for everything that you see today, but I mean, we know that he has heavily backed certain DAs, and those district attorneys that he's backed have all behaved in the same way. They don't prosecute violent criminals sometimes. They let drug dealers off the hook. A lot of the stuff that you see has sort of George Soros's smell all over it. And I'm not blaming him for the open border situation, but that smells like Soros, the freaking open border situation. I mean, how would he have control of that? I don't know. But there's no good reason for what's happening at the border right now. No good reason other than the fact that you're trying to collapse our country. So whoever's behind it, it smells like Soros. I'm just saying. Again, I don't know what's going on. I'm sort of presenting what I'm seeing. So that's it. And I want to read this article from the Washington Free Beacon. Go back to chat really quick. RGS. If J6 wasn't a setup, then why didn't Ray-Ups get locked up or charged? Yeah, that's a good point. I didn't even talk about Ray-Ups last episode because everybody else talks about him so much. And I figure everybody already has the scoop on Ray-Ups. He did get charged with like a misdemeanor, I think. Way later. All right. So this is from the Washington Free Beacon. Israel left-wing dark money behemoth behind bail fund for free Palestine bridge blockers. Huh. Okay. So this is okay. We'll just read the article. See what they're saying. Community justice expert, part of the Soros-funded Tide Center, solicits legal defense donations for arrested protesters. Okay. So why would George Soros want to do that? Scores of free Palestine protesters across the United States took to the streets Monday to block major intersections. This is from April 15th. To block major intersections, highways, and bridges. Those who are arrested will receive bail money and legal support from left-wing dark money behemoth funded by George Soros, an online fundraising page shows. This might be from the same article that sorry guys, I told you I'm sleepy tonight. I'm tired. It might be from the same sources that Pirate Wires was reporting about. The protests, which took place in dozens of U.S. cities, including San Francisco, Chicago, New York, Philadelphia, were organized by the A15 Action, a newly formed group that worked to coordinate a multi-city economic blockade on April 15th in solidarity with Free Palestine. The group's website directs users to a bail and legal defense fund hosted through Act Blue and Democratic Party's online fundraising juggernaut. Those who donate to the fund, the Act Blue page says, are sending money to the Community Justice Exchange, which provides money bail. You mean bail money? Money bail, court fees, and fines, the other legal services to community-based organizations that contrast the current operation and function of the criminal legal and immigration detention systems. The exchange is a project of the Tide Center, a left-wing. So Pirate Wires was talking about the Tide Center last time, and I think that was funded by some tobacco conglomerate, I believe, the heir of some tobacco conglomerate. I can't remember her name. The exchange is a project of Tide Center, a left-wing dark money network funded by Soros and other liberal billionaires. Soros isn't like the main backer of that. He's just got like that identifiable name, but there's a whole bunch of people that are associated with the Tide Center, and he's not like the founder or anything. The protesters who organized the global event under the title A15 targeted economic choke points with the express purpose of causing as much financial disruption as possible, according to their website. Yeah, I played you guys that video that they made too, where they were talking about shutting down Capitol that day. Here, we'll watch a quick video. Okay, it's just a video of one of the protests, but they made like a call to action video that they sent out, and they talked about all the cities that it was supposed to happen in, what times. Like, they're giving pretty specific instructions. And I mean, just the video, just the production value of the video, which looks like it was expensive and it was done well. So all this stuff costs money. Ahead of the protests, A15 said it identified major choke points in the economy that would blockade to cause pain. The group listed more than 50 participating cities, including Chicago, where dozens of protesters shut down access to O'Hare International Airport for nearly an hour, forcing some travelers to walk with their luggage to the airport. And we watched videos of that. Similar protests occurred in San Francisco, where protesters held up traffic on the Golden Gate Bridge, and in Oakland, California, where protesters blocked all lanes of Interstate 880. Philadelphia and New York also experienced disruptions. So did Portland, I believe. At the A15 protest on Wall Street, protesters were photographed wearing Hamas bandanas and flying Hezbollah flags. Banks located near the protest were vandalized with red spray paint and graffiti that read "Funder of Genocide" and "Free Gaza." Those protesters later blocked the Brooklyn Bridge. Okay, so those particular protests, unlike the college campus ones, those ones to me seemed like, okay, if you're gonna do mass protests that just pisses everyone off and makes people not want to sympathize with your cause, this is the way you would do it. Block bridges, block freaking intersections. I mean, that's borderline terrorism at that point. You know, you're really that could almost be called violence. You know, I mean, the left says words are violence, but you're shutting down bridges, you're shutting down highways, you're making, like, if there's emergency situations, people can't get from point A to point B because of what you're doing. And it was highly organized. The college stuff, even though it's spreading to all these other college campuses, doesn't seem as organized, even though it does. Like, it's not as disruptive to the general public. It's more attacking, and they have demands. Like the protests that are happening on these college campuses, they actually have demands. They want the colleges to divest from the funding of Israel. Like, they have actual real demands. And it's like, I may think that they're a bunch of dorks, especially the lefties with the masks on and the hair and the piercings and stuff. But I mean, I was a dork with goofy hair and idealism and dumb when I was young and in college and stuff. And as you guys know, I am not down with what Israel's doing in Gaza. So, I mean, I'm kind of with the college protesters on this. I mean, are they being extra goofy about it? Would I go participate in it? Like, no, I wouldn't go participate in it. But like Owen Schroyer went there today or yesterday, maybe, and he did an interview with a bunch of the kids. And if you contrast his interview that he did with a bunch of the kids, they were talking to him and they were having dialogue back and forth, and it was completely civil, not violent at all. And you compare that to like the 2016, 2015, Milo Yiannopoulos visiting college campuses, or Steven Crowder or Ben Shapiro or whoever visiting college campuses. Those became violent, like pro-Trump stuff. People would get maced. Those were violent. You contrast this Israel-Palestine stuff. It's like you got people, Owen Schroyer, notoriously on the right, but he's anti-war. He's not really Owen Schroyer is not down with U.S. tax dollars funding foreign wars. And the pro-Palestine protesters would tend to agree with that. Yeah, we don't, even though many of them are probably for the Ukraine war, but that's aside from the point. But Owen's whole point there was like, yeah, I don't want any of our tax dollars to go into this. And he was having open dialogue with them, and it was civil. You haven't really seen violence at these college protests, except for when they say, they're blocking Jews from going to classes and stuff. And that almost seems like agent provocatory right there, because you have groups of Jews in these protests that are anti what Israel is doing as well. So it doesn't appear that Jews are unsafe on these college campuses, even though, yeah, people will argue and say like, no, there's been videos of, Jews getting locked down. And I have a theory behind that. I could be wrong, but I don't think, from what I'm seeing, this hasn't turned into like how Greg Abbott and AIPAC is portraying this as just anti-Semitic, where it's gone from, anti-Israeli government to hate all Jews type situation. I could be wrong. Maybe there is heavy anti-Semitism, but I haven't seen it. What I'm seeing is groups of people that are against the genocide that's occurring in Gaza, that are against, obviously, kids, women, children getting bombed, being starved out, being forced out of their homes, the entire Gaza Strip being destroyed, all of that stuff. So I would tend to agree with them. And as long as they're not turning violent and they are actually just protesting on college campuses, I got no beef. And I don't like these cops going and arresting the kids. And yeah, I'm not down with it. And we'll keep going. I'm sure plenty of you guys disagree with me, but let me check the chat. Let me know if you disagree with me. I'm happy to talk about it if you guys disagree with me. What up, B Sizzo? Nice to see you. It's funny, the X chat and the YouTube chat shows up in the same window for me, so it looks like all you guys are together, even though that you're not. I wish I had a way to merge it so all you guys could see each other in one chat window, but you can't. So then I got the Rumble chat that's separate as well. Northside, I support America and prefer that my money went there. Yep, me too. RGS, man, I don't support Hamas or terrorists, and I don't support the Israeli government. I also don't support Ukraine. I'm against war. Yeah, same. Took the words out of my mouth. So, yep, I'm 100% with you there. 100% with you. America first. That's it. Like, if I said it last time, if Israel and Palestine wants to, like, I am against what Israel's doing in Gaza, and I will speak out against it. But I don't want my money going to the Palestinians either. And that's the thing too, is America's funding both sides. So, okay, we'll keep going here. Should the actions of the state result in the need for it, these funds will be used for bail, legal defense, and support for dependents. The Tide Center houses a variety of left-wing groups, including the Black Lives Matter Global Network Foundation. It funnels millions of dollars from wealthy donors to these groups. The center is a fiscal sponsor of a number of liberal nonprofits, allowing the groups under the umbrella to avoid registering with the IRS. Oh, interesting. Some of those groups are known for their anti-Israel activism. Okay. The Tide Center, for example, fiscally sponsors the Arab Resource Organization Center. Okay. The AROC. Which last year organized a direct action protest and attempted to block the U.S. military ship bound for Israel from leaving from Port of Washington. I think they did that in San Francisco too. It also sponsors the Ottawa Justice Project, one of America's most vocal Hamas apologists. Okay. Soros, a fellow liberal billionaire, Pierre Omidyar, and among the Tide Center major donors. The Tide Center is a liberal and political active. The Tide Center is as liberal and politically active as they come. Its entire purpose is to create new activist groups. Scott Walter, president of the Capital Research Center, previously told the Washington Free Beacon. The Tide Center, Act Blue, Community Justice Exchange, and A15 did not respond to the request for comments. Act Blue's website says its fundraising platform is only open to groups whose work is not at odds with the values including but not limited to social equality. Notice they didn't say equity there. They didn't say social equity. They said social equality. Women's rights, LGBTQIA2S, whatever. The LGBT alphabet mafia. Rights, racial justice, diversity, freedom of speech. You sure you're pro freedom of speech? That's like the whole premise of this thing is you're not really pro free speech unless you are championing the right for everyone to speak, including the people, actually, most importantly, the people you don't agree with. Like Greg Abbott is absolutely not a free speech person. It's so weird that like everybody's pro free speech on the right until Israel starts getting criticized, and then everybody's like, wait a minute, anti-Semitism is free speech. Like the opposite side of that coin, Noam Chomsky, notoriously back in like the 70s or the 80s, was talking about the right for Nazis and KKK members to espouse their awful views and do their marches and their parades and all that stuff. I mean, that's really bad, right? But it's not illegal. That's what the First Amendment is. You're allowed to say the most horrible stuff. Like, I think Jews are whatever. I think all of whatever. You're allowed to say it. Anti-Semitism is free speech. You may find it abhorrent, but that's even more important for you to champion people's right to say it. Anti-Semitism is free speech, whether you like it or not. A15's mutual solidarity agreement outlines ways in which protesters are expected to act in solidarity with each other and in the face of attacks from the media, politicians and police and politicians and the police and the Zionist Project. Activists are encouraged to avoid talking to police and are not to discourage or denounce each other's plans of solidarity means affinity, not ownership. Okay. If one city faces police repression, other cities will extend and expand their blockades or initiate other actions in response, if able to the best of their abilities and capacity, the agreement says. We will not attack each other or any other actions on social media or to the press. We will hold a post-action debrief so that we can raise principal critiques among ourselves in a constructive manner rather than publicly. Okay, so the Tide Center is like very similar to this, demand protest group and crowds on demand group. There's lots of money behind this crap. Lots of money. People trying to push an objective. So, all right, let's okay. Well, so here's another one. This one popped up on Twitter. This is a job advertisement that somebody found on Indeed. So, there's a job advertisement on Indeed. They're looking for role players. C-A&M, Washington D.C. 20011. Job details. Salary is $25 to $75 an hour. Full job description: C-A&M Inc., a small business dedicated to providing exceptional talent to support our federal clients, is currently accepting resumes for role players to support a number of training packages and events. We are currently accepting resumes from role players to support a wide range of training events in spaces such as health, disaster training, law enforcement training, military training. We are looking for role players that can meet the following requirements. This sounds like the crisis actors type thing. realistically, accurately, and convincingly portray a variety of scenarios in diversified setting environments such as practical, situational, and field. Go to the next page. And field training exercises and tests. Portray a variety of role-playing scenarios. Memorize critical data contained in each role. Be prepared for each role so as to portray assigned roles with no reliance to the role script off book. Ability to follow directions, be on time, and keep within the assigned bounds of the training exercise's scope. Take action, adjustments, and notes, and quickly implement those changes moving forward. Convey information and data in response to students' correct and proper interview skills, questioning and or elicitation techniques, while simultaneously completing government-provided student evaluation sheets in accordance with government-provided references, procedures, and forms. Realistically, accurately, and convincingly portray your role. Must be able to withstand working in austere environments, weather challenges, standing, walking considerable distances, and certain training programs may be required to lift up to 50 pounds. Candidates should be comfortable on being scheduled for short notice, 3 to 5 business days for ACONUS events. Oh, Scarlett decided to come say hi. She was being a bad dog earlier, barking and everything. Candidates that are interested in ACONUS events should hold a current U.S. passport and be up to date on all applicable vaccines. Role players with secret clearance, retired DoD, Department of State, Foreign Service officers, and veterans are highly encouraged to apply. I need to look into this group more. So this is CA&M Inc. CA&M Inc. I need to write that down. I need to look into these guys more. I have a highly organized sticky note system. All right, let's keep going here. All right, let's go to Netanyahu and see what he has to say about all the protests, shall we? Netanyahu says Israel anti-Semitic mobs have taken over leading universities in the United States. So let's watch this two-minute video from Netanyahu. Check the chat really quick. No longer true, coach. If you do anti-Semitism, the Texas police arrest you. Yeah, I know. Like Greg Abbott's freaking a dumbass. Did you hear that our government, are giving $400 million to the Taliban? It just came out. No, I didn't hear that. What the hell? Oh, boy. Yeah, and the $100 billion aid packages that they just signed. Think about what $100 billion could do for our borders, infrastructure, education, anything else here in America. All the money that we've given to Ukraine and Israel, like in all these aid packages, yeah, we could have done, we probably could have canceled tons of student debt and solved the homeless problem, as the leftists say. But, I think at a bare minimum, we could have taken care of our veterans that are on the streets, all of them. Could have given free health care to everybody. Like all the stuff that the left wants, they easily could have done it with the money that we've given to Ukraine and Israel. But yeah, we secure our border, even though we don't need extra money to secure our border. But yeah, we could have finished the wall. Like the wall, from my understanding, was pretty much already paid for. Could have finished the wall, could have got more border patrol agents. Yeah, all sorts of stuff. Danger. If they block traffic and destroy shit, they should be arrested. What do you want, Scarlett? If they are peaceful protesting, then they should be left alone. Yeah, I agree. And I mean, a lot of the protesting type stuff, yeah, I'm not down with the blocking traffic stuff, because then you're border, especially if it's a large coordinated effort. Like they blocked the Bay Bridge. Well, they didn't block the Bay Bridge last time, but they blocked the Golden Gate Bridge, 880 really close to the Bay Bridge. I think they also did Highway 24 And if they would have done like Highway 101 and Highway 280, they would have caused a complete gridlock in the Bay Area. That to me, you're bordering on terrorism at that point because nobody can get anywhere. And that's a bad situation for tons of people. And you're doing it for political objectives. Like that's freaking terrorism at that point, if you ask me. But some protests should be you're doing stuff that you'll get arrested for, but the protesters should be aware and be willing to get arrested for those things. I mean, if you're really Scarlett, go lay down now. Lay down. Sorry, guys. She was distracting me. She kept booping with her cold, wet nose. Yeah, some protesters should be willing to get arrested for their cause. So, T-Bone Tony, because most GOP voters are evangelicals that believe in end times theory. Yeah. It seems like they're trying to make end times happen too. Notice how they didn't block Bart. Why didn't they? They should have. That would have been funny. Bart's about to get defunded. Not defunded, but they're about to not have money at all. Meanwhile, the high-speed rail to nowhere is getting plenty of funding. All right, let's keep going here. Let's watch this video from Netanyahu. Let's see what this turd burglar has to say. I can't stand this guy. I think this guy is an absolute freaking maniac.
What's happening in America's college campuses is horrific. Anti-Semitic mobs have taken over leading universities. They call for the annihilation of Israel. They attack Jewish students. They attack Jewish faculty. This is reminiscent of what happened in German universities in the 1930s.
Here we go.
It's unconscionable. It has to be stopped. It has to be condemned and condemned unequivocally. But that's not what happened.
What does it mean it has to be stopped?
The response of several university presidents was shameful. Now, fortunately, state, local, federal officials, many of them have responded differently, but there has to be more. More has to be done. It has to be done not only because they attack Israel, that's bad enough. Not only because they want to kill Jews wherever they are, that's bad enough. It's also, when you listen to them, it's also because they say not only death to Israel, death to the Jews, but death to America.
Is he saying the protesters are saying all of this stuff? And this is where I come in and say that, if you wanted to gain sympathy for your cause and these networks are available, why not hire them to say, hey, can you go in and say like death to Israel and, say super anti-Semitic shit so we can then point at it and say, look what they're doing. I'm not seeing college students calling for the death of Jews. That's not what I'm seeing here. I'm seeing college students protesting the death of Gazans. That's what is Gazans a thing? Can you say Gazans? Palestinians. That's what I'm seeing. I'm seeing Jews saying, stop the attack on Palestine. All of that. So has there been issues with Jewish students getting blocked, going to class? But I haven't seen violence. I haven't seen any violence break out. This hasn't been like the Black Lives Matter protests. So he seems to be exaggerating a little bit here, unless I'm missing something.
And this tells us that there's an anti-Semitic surge here that has terrible consequences. We see this exponential rise of anti-Semitism throughout America and throughout Western societies as Israel tries to defend itself against genocidal terrorists.
As Israel tries to defend itself, okay, October 7th was a long time ago, and it's kind of looking, he always talks about how Hamas are genocidal terrorists while committing genocide. It appears that what you're doing, sir, is committing genocide. Like you are trying to wipe out all of the Palestinians, and the leftover ones you want to force out of there and then do a giant land grab. That's what this seems to be. And at the same time, you're saying genocidal maniacs while committing genocide. That's what I'm seeing.
Genocidal terrorists who hide behind civilians. Yet it is Israel that is falsely accused of genocide.
Yeah, no, it's not. What? This is so frustrating. This is super narcissistic gaslighting. I can't freaking stand this guy.
Israel that is falsely accused of starvation and all sundry war crimes. It's all one big libel, but that's not new.
It's one big libel. Oh, blood libel, anti-Semitism, blood libel, all this. Dude, so frustrating.
We've seen in history that anti-Semitic attacks were always preceded by vilification and slander, lies that were cast against the Jewish people that are unbelievable, yet people believed them. And what is important?
What's so unbelievable about what's happening in Gaza? It's 2024. We're seeing what's happening in Gaza. How many people have been killed in Gaza now? October 7th. Why did it take 6 hours to respond? Why didn't you guys know the attack was coming after Egypt warned you? How did the CNN journalists embedded with Hamas, how did they know the attack was coming ahead of time? And the most intelligent intelligence agency on earth didn't know it was coming ahead of time. Was there a stand down order? Did you guys actually want it to happen in order to justify what you are now doing in Gaza? Just asking. No, that kind of stuff pisses off Ben Shapiro. Just asking questions because you're implying something. Because yeah, that is what I'm saying. That is what it looks like to me. I'll come right out and say it. It looks like the October 7th attack was allowed to happen by the Israeli government so they can justify what they are now doing in Gaza. There, I said it.
Now is for all of us who are interested and cherish our values and our civilization, to stand up together and to say enough is enough. We have to stop anti-Semitism because anti-Semitism is the canary in the coal mine. It always precedes larger conflagrations that engulf the entire world. So I ask all of you, Jews and non-Jews alike, who are concerned with our common future and our common values, to do.
He talks about rhetoric that's going to spark world war while they're doing what they're doing in Gaza and then attacking the Iranian consulate. Right. It's everybody else, though. It's not you.
Do one thing. Stand up, speak up, be counted. Stop anti-Semitism now.
Okay. I can't stand that, man. All right. You guys want to yell at me yet? Let's see. Let's go back to the chat. You guys can yell at me if you want. B says, I got to think October 7th was allowed so they can use the footage to show the world, look, we are just defending ourselves. That is what I'm leaning towards as well, to justify their final move, their final solution, you mean, on Palestine. Everything seems to point to this. That's what I'm getting to. The RGS, they try to control and change the narrative, then gaslight you, telling you that they don't see what they're doing. Watch what happens now that TikTok was banned. Yep. Yeah. What do they got? 90 days to comply. ByteDance, they got 90 days to comply, and then all of a sudden they're going to be. What's funny is the government can't go after ByteDance. They're not a U.S. company. So what are they going to do? They're going to go after Apple. They're going to go after whoever hosts their web services. So I doubt they're using Amazon, but yeah, anybody that hosts TikTok. And can't you just get a VPN? If TikTok still exists, can't you just VPN in? T-Bone Tony, Netanyahu in the 70s. Nettie has been facing against the PLO since 70s, 50 years. Yeah, but he's been shady as hell for the same amount of time. All right, let's keep going here. So I came across these guys. You guys heard of the Shirion Collective? So this is an account on Twitter that I just sort of stumbled across. These guys are interesting. Surveillance network, news, opinions, pro-democracy, scraping digital fingerprints to aggressively track and expose anti-Semitism. Operations, in parentheses. So they are very pro-Israel, and they try to infiltrate these groups to see what's going on. They don't say that they want to infiltrate these groups to try to spin the narrative. It's more like surveillance type stuff. But here's like a ad that they put out, or a call to action type thing that they put out on Twitter. So it says, breaking Operations Global Insight. No more words. Join the Shirion Collective's first undercover operation. Become an agent embedded within enemy lines at this weekend's protests. marking our first global operation that combines the efforts of volunteers and our more seasoned internal team. Who are we looking for? Individuals who can maintain cool, calm, and collected demeanors under triggering Jew hate pressure. Volunteers willing to wear kippahs. Is that how you say it? Yeah, kippahs and walk in these demonstrations masked. Individuals with Arabic-sounding names and Middle Eastern appearance may be uniquely positioned for deeper infiltration and will receive cash. So they put out that call to action there. That's what they were looking for. And so, yeah, okay. So, and absolutely, there's going to be Muslim groups that are trying to do the same thing, that are trying to, well, I don't know. I mean, the whole protest is just anti-war in Gaza, right? So, I mean, unless you are seeing like openly like hurt Jews type messaging or, calling for, they say from the river to the sea is a genocidal phrase. And yeah, it could be argued that it is, but I think most people that say from the river to the sea, they aren't saying wipe out all of the Jews. I don't think that's what they're saying, but that is the way it's portrayed. Yeah, I know I'm getting pretty controversial on this one. Probably lose a bunch of followers for this one, but I'm okay with it. Wally World. Okay, you're here now? All right, I'll make Scarlett come say hi. Come here. Wally's here. All right. There you go. She wanted to say hi, Wally, but she actually didn't come up here earlier, so she waited for you to say hi before she came out. All right, you being a good girl. Can I have a high five? Okay, good girl. All right, okay. Can you get down now? Okay, you got to get down there. Okay, all right. Thanks, Booger. All right. I call my dog Booger so much, she started responding to it. Maddie Bracco, nice to see you. Nah, what? You get to say nah. I mean, disagree with me all you want, but you got to say something more than nah. All right. Let's keep going here. So this is from Nick Sorter, and he says, protesters outside so a bunch of people. So this is in Austin. This is at UT Austin. An estimated 54 people have been locked up for charges such as criminal trespassing and obstruction. And then he says, protesters outside of the jail here in Austin have been provided with thousands of dollars worth of supplies tonight. It's enough for several days, but nobody really seems to know any answers as to who paid for all of this stuff. Well, that's one of the things these organizations pride themselves in, right? Is secrecy. Let's watch this quick video. It's only like 27 seconds. It's funny. Maddie Bracco and the RGS. You guys are in different comment windows. RGS, you're over on Rumble, and Maddie Bracco, you're over on X. You both said the same thing at the same time. Said I won't lose followers. I might. I don't know. There's a lot of pro-Israel people that follow me, and I ain't got no beef with people that are pro. If you're from Israel too, it's like I get it. You're going to be on that team. I may completely disagree with you. And my thing is, if I agree with you on 90% of the stuff, like, yeah, I don't want murder. I don't want bombing and stuff happening. I don't want people dying. Like, that's my whole thing. I don't want people dying, and I don't want people silenced, and I don't want my money funding wars. All that's kind of as controversial as I get, and my whole tinfoily stuff. But that's another conversation. All right, so that's from Nick Sorter. We'll go back to keep playing just a few more seconds. But all this food. Yeah, look at all this food. It's all seed. Oh, actually, wow. This, oh, man, I love these things. The Uncrunchables. Those things are so good. I haven't had them in a long time. Those peanut butter and jelly sandwiches that are probably chock full of GMOs and seed oils. They're so delicious. So much food. Yeah, Where did it all come from? That is a lot of food. Let's keep going here. Okay, so here's one of the Jewish protesters that's speaking out against what Israel's doing. And what's funny is, you guys notice what he's standing right in front of here? These are all those paver stones, and that's what I thought they were the first time that I saw this. This is at the Columbia campus, and he's standing right in front. Oh, let me share. He's standing right in front of it looks like a pallet full of paver stones, and this is one of my first jobs, was laying paver stones. I used to work at a company called Paver Depot back in the day, and it was funny. It was actually a good job. I used to have to. People would bring in, like, I want to create a paver stone patio or a walkway or whatever, and I want to do these paver stones in a Old Town 2 combo, and do a soldier course border. So I would have to take like their square footage and that brick combination and figure out how many pallets of each that they needed. It was actually hard work for it's only like 17 at the time, I think 16, 17, something like that. Anyway, that's why I recognize this. These look like thinner pavers that allow like water to go through them, like almost like drought tolerant pavers, if you will. Anyway, why would those be delivered? Like, maybe they got a big giant paver stone project going on, just happens to be at the same time. But remember, during the BLM protests, you had stacks of bricks showing up. Like, why is that happening? It's almost like maybe there's a big giant paver stone project going on, and if that's the case, this would totally make sense. But if that was the case, you should also see like stacks of sand and stacks of base rock. But I don't see any of that. But anyway, it could be a complete coincidence, but it could also be somebody put a bunch of bricks there because they're hoping things might escalate and get violent. These protests have not seemed to have gotten violent, except for you do see the crazy Marxist agitators that go in, like the BLM type people that go in, and they could care less about the whole Israel-Palestine thing. They're just being freaking narcissists and trying to do like modern dance crap and spew their garbage. It's just all about attention. I'll play another one of those videos towards the end, but let's listen to a Jewish student. God, I ramble so much. I apologize. Let's listen to a Jewish I'm not gonna say anti-Israel, but a Jewish student who's against the Israeli war that's going on in Gaza right now. Just say the Israeli attack that's going on in Gaza right now. Did you guys lose audio? I just got a notification that it lost audio. Let me try something here. I'm going to stop sharing really quick. Sorry, I'm going to start that video over because I think I lost audio on that. Thank you, Wally. Awesome. Appreciate it. No volume drink. I know it's becoming a regular part of the show. All right, let me go back. Stacy Presley. So are the protesters going to do paperwork while they are waiting for the Palestinians to be free? Maybe. I mean, it'd be a good way to earn some cash while you're protesting. I mean, unless they're already getting paid to protest, right? All right, cool. I did lose the audio, so at least I get a notification when I lose the audio. So let me go back. You guys tell me if I got audio this time. I'll start this over. All right. Tell me if you got audio this time.
I'm a Jewish student at Columbia. When we talk about anti-Semitism on campus, that's taking the spotlight away from Gaza, away from Palestine, and the Palestinian students on campus, and putting it back onto me. I am perfectly safe here, and this has all been a distraction because they don't want us talking about the nonstop massacre of Gaza of Palestinian civilians being taken out by the IDF. I grew up being taught that Israel was an important part of my Jewish identity, and part of being a Jew was supporting Israel. I was raised Zionist, and then I met a Palestinian for the first time and heard their perspective, and was able to realize that I was on the wrong side of this, that I'd been taught the wrong side of this. To me, calling in the police was an act of desperation. They know where the students stand. They saw the students come together to support their suspended and arrested friends. We see that other universities are following in our footsteps, and we welcome them. We just want to make sure that they do it in solidarity with Gaza and with Palestine, and that the focus is not on us. But we hope that this can be an important step in the liberation of Palestine and an end to the occupation and an end to the genocide.
You know what's crazy, guys, is I have a friend, I won't mention the friend, but on October 8th, when all the October 7th stuff came out, she was like, she has family. She's not Jewish, but she has like cousins and stuff that are, I don't know how that works, but she's not Jewish, but she was heavily sympathetic with Israel and everything after October 7th, where, you know, a ton of people were. And as time has gone on, I just ran into her yesterday, like literally ran into her on a run. She's a runner. And we sort of got talking about this stuff, and she no longer supports what Israel's doing at all, like in the slightest, not at all. She's completely flipped her perspective, kind of like what he said there, how he was raised Zionist. And yeah. T-Bone Tony, obviously a Jewish person would be safe in New York. That's funny. What's funny is like Jewish comedians are freaking hilarious. The New York Jew accent is freaking hilarious. Like yeah, it sucks because I have a bunch of Jewish friends. I love Jews. I have like 3 or 4 Muslim friends, one that I've known for years, known for like 20 years. He's not like a hardcore practicing Muslim, but then a bunch of my Jewish friends, they're not like hardcore practicing Jews either. And I bet they would all get along. Like this whole thing is just, it sucks. This whole thing freaking sucks. I'm just anti-war. That's it. I'm anti-war and I'm pro-free speech. So it's, yeah, keep going here. All righty. Let's go over to another video. This is a video of cops tear gassing kids now. Let's watch this one. So this looks like it's in Atlanta. They're protesting in Atlanta too. Oh, is Emory University? Huh.
Stop! Stop it! Stop it! Let them go! 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 Let them go!
Hey, where'd you guys get that shopping cart? You clearly stole it from a store.
There's one on the right. There's one on the right. Let them go! 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 Let them go. 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 Let.
All right, I've had enough of that one. I'm sorry. The whole chant is driving me insane there. Let's go over to UT Austin now. So they pulled out all the stops at UT Austin. Oh, freaking Greg Abbott, kiss the wall, Greg Abbott. That's super funny. Somebody posted a picture of Greg Abbott next to it just showed Greg Abbott, and then it zoomed in a little more, and then it zoomed in a little more on a sign that said I stand with Israel. And it showed Greg Abbott in the wheelchair, and it just zoomed in closer until it just said "I stand" and had Greg Abbott next to it. That's a terrible joke. It's a terrible joke, you guys. Terrible. Yeah, I'm not down with state troopers being called in for a protest on college campuses. Like, all of the protests that happened, the George Floyd stuff, go back to 2016, when there was going back for decades, there's always protests on college campuses. But you start speaking out against what Israel's doing and the state troopers get called in, it's kind of weird. Just kind of strange. All right. Okay, I already played that one. Okay, so this is also from UT Austin. This is from Nick Sorter. It says UT Austin protesters moved to jail. An estimated 54 people have been locked up for charges such as criminal trespassing and obstruction. I think I already read this. We got some videos here. So the people that are leading these chants and stuff, they're the ones that are most suspect to me, that might be associated with these groups that we went over in the beginning, where it's like, you know, they're well spoken, they look like pros, they look like professional protesters. And then again, who's providing the food, who's providing these flags, who's providing the signs, who's providing all these little Hamas things that they got? I don't know. Maybe people order them on Amazon. Who knows? Maybe it's the spy. Who bought all these damn pizzas? Who bought the pizzas, guys? I mean, I would go to one of these just for the pizza, to be frank with you. Oh, you guys got free pizza? Okay. I'm not going to go and chant or anything, but I'll definitely go eat some free pizza. Oh, my apologies. Oh, that hurt my neck. My neck is still bugging me, guys. Okay. These people are all in the jail, it looks like. In the waiting room at the jail. Okay. All right. Let's keep going here. Oh, geez. I'm going to blow an eardrum. Okay. Breaking: students at the University of Southern California have established a Gaza solidarity encampment on campus this morning, joining thousands of pro-Palestinian protesters across the country, calling for their universities to divest from Israel. Okay, this is a thread. This is from Jeremy Linfield, and he looks like he was covering this all day yesterday. So that's his first post. It's only a 5-second video, so I'm not going to play it. Then he says, students are hanging protest banners at Alumni Park and setting up sleeping bags and mats. I'm told they plan to indefinitely occupy the space until the university meets their demands. Okay, so another autonomous zone, huh? All right. Keep going. List of demands at USC's Gaza solidarity occupation. Like other student protests around the country, pro-Palestinian students are calling for divestment from Israel and protection for free speech activities on campus. Well, one of my biggest gripes about protests is you never know what the point is. You never know what their demands are. Like, I'll call out the Women's March a little bit. Like the Women's March. You guys remember that? Where women are walking around with their pussy hats and they're screaming and yelling and stuff. But you go up and ask them, it's like, okay, well, what do you want? What are your demands? well, we want equal pay. It's like, well, what do you mean? Because there's that whole 70, remember the 76 cents, and women only get 76 cents to the dollar of men. And then you find out that all they did is they took all jobs that women hold and then all jobs that men hold, and they just smashed them together and said, look, men make more. It's like, well, yeah, men tend to gravitate towards, lineman jobs where they got to get flown in by a helicopter, underwater welding, like really dangerous shit. Men tend to do those jobs. The offshore oil workers, the roughnecks, hot shots that get flown into the middle of a freaking fire zone, dropped in there with nothing else but a rake. Like those guys. Yeah, that tends to be men that do the more dangerous shit. And CEOs, heads of companies, yeah, you tend to have like a narcissistic strong man that usually gravitates towards those jobs too, because you got to work like 80 hours a week and you got to be ruthless. It's just more of a man thing. So that's one of my biggest gripes with these protests is like, you never see their demands. It's like, what are your actual demands? Why are you just marching around and screaming? What do you want, lady? What do you want? I like your hat. Jeremy Linfield. Okay, so the list says our demands: end war profiteering, investments in genocide, complete academic boycott of Israel, okay, protect free speech on campus, okay, and provide full amnesty, stop the displacement from, I'm trying to read their sheet here, from South Central to Palestine, no policing on campus. Okay, so they actually have demands and they sound kind of reasonable to me. So, oh, here's one: stop genocide. Yeah, I tend to agree with that. I'm not down with genocide. And then Netanyahu will say, look, they're calling for genocide. And it's like, they got a sign here. They got a sign that says stop genocide. It's the opposite of calling for genocide. Signs of the Gaza solidarity occupation underscore the dissonance between USC's renowned journalism program and its investment in a nation whose military operations in Gaza have killed and injured a record number of journalists. Yeah, and the World Food Kitchen, like everybody sort of forgot about that one. Remember, Israel just sort of bombed the hell out of 3 cars that were clearly marked with World Food Kitchen. We suddenly got, remember, and then we were just like, yeah, we're just going to let Israel do their own investigation and tell us what we should do. An American died, and a British, Australian, and what was their excuse for targeting 3 separate cars and blowing them to smithereens where clearly no one was going to survive? What was their justification for doing that? Oh, we thought there might have been a Hamas guy with them. What? Like in one of the cars? So you blew up all 3 because you didn't know which one he was in? And you knew that you were going to kill everyone? Oh, okay. And then we give them, what, $100 billion a few weeks later? They killed an American. And then we just gave them $100 billion. It's freaking insane. Not to mention the whole USS Liberty thing where, there's just never any repercussions for that when they knowingly attacked and killed, what was it, like 37 people? And then try to be like, oopsies, no, it was, they attacked them with planes, and then there was like a 22-minute gap, and they came at them with torpedoes. And you hear them over the radio saying, no, this is clearly a U.S. ship. Are you guys sure you want us to do that? And they're like, follow orders. That happened. They knowingly attacked a U.S. ship. And nothing ever came from it. In fact, it was buried. Because, what was it? Was it Lyndon Johnson? I think it was Lyndon Johnson. Didn't want to be called, they're going to say blood libel. They're going to say blood libel, anti-Semitism. And then he backed down and just buried the whole thing. Okay. Jeremy Linfield, 15 minutes after public and safety officers have protesters 30 minutes to take down their signs, they have come back and forcibly dismantled the signs. Okay. He continues, to avoid public safety coming back and taking down signs, students are now holding the signs instead of hanging them from trees. Like they're standing on buckets. That's not OSHA compliant, guys. You guys could get hurt. Don't stand on buckets. It's not safe. As student protesters participate in yoga course. What? As student protesters. It's so hard not to make fun of you guys. As student protesters participate in a yoga course Public safety continues to tear down their signs. They're doing yoga, guys. Yoga for Palestine. Student protesters have begun to read poetry by Palestinian authors. Okay, all right. I'll give you. I won't make fun of you for that. Public safety officers attempt to shut down protesters using amplified speakers and are met with protest chants calling for free Palestine. Okay, so they're saying, oh, you can't amplify the speech. Yeah, free speech, you just can't amplify it. Got it? Community guidelines. Prospective USC students walk past the Gaza Solidarity occupation as protesters continue calling for divestment from Israel. Oh, okay, so they're like touring the campus, like considering going to USC. Don't go to college, guys. Just don't. Start a small company. Don't go to college. Don't waste your freaking money. After public safety officers took down pro-Palestinian banners, student protesters put them back up. It's hard for me not to. They may be lefties, but there are lefties. Breaking now, university police have entered the encampment and begun destroying student tents, becoming physical with protesters. Okay. Yeah, and I feel like this is an opportunity for people on the right that are not down with what Israel is doing. This is an opportunity to actually bridge some gaps here. Like I talked about earlier, when Owen Schroyer went to the Columbia campus, I think that's where he went. And he was talking with them saying like, yeah, I agree with you guys on tons of the stuff. And he opened up dialogue and people were being completely civil. They weren't even interrupting each other. They were letting each other talk. We're talking about Owen Schroyer talking to mask-wearing, blue-haired liberals, and they were having a civil discussion. I mean, I thought like there was no coming back from how split our country has gotten. And like, this isn't even rallying around like a common enemy. This is rallying around stop killing people. Like this is encouraging to me, you guys. Like, you may disagree with me, but yeah, again, anti-war means anti-all war. Protesters have picked up, and also some of these protesters might have been like, pro-Ukraine war funding, like, no, we got to protect them against the Russians, right? And like pro sending US dollars to Ukraine. This is an opportunity to open up dialogue with those students and be like, okay, so you have to, this is why we say America first, because we shouldn't be, if we weren't supporting Ukraine, they would have been forced to the negotiation table 2 years ago with Russia. They wouldn't have lost an entire generation of Ukrainian men. They probably wouldn't end up losing as much land as they're going to lose, because Russia's going to win this war. Everybody's known Russia is going to win this war from the get-go. Ukraine has no chance, and they just keep throwing an entire generation of men into the meat grinder, and we keep throwing dollars at it to line people's pockets. That's all this is. This is an opportunity to open up dialogue with these students that may not be looking at the Ukraine war through that lens. So people that are just calling for all these kids to be arrested, they are totally missing the boat on this. Okay. And then somebody posted this. That's just funny. That's funny. Okay, that's just taking two. Okay. It's just a picture of Epstein that says, I stand with Israel, and so does my client list. That's the same. You guys probably can't see it, but hanging from that guitar back there, I have a Jeffrey Epstein, this air freshener didn't hang itself air freshener back there on my guitar. They smell like cheap cologne as well. All right. Let's keep going here. Colin, what up, man? Let's see. Ryan Johnson, nice to see you. mRNA free pizza. Yeah, I don't know shit, right? Let's see. Are you guys talking college shit? The South doesn't play. Northeasterners are soft. That's funny. If Republicans were smart, they would allow the protests to happen because they are destroying Biden's electoral chances. Yes, that's another point that I saw somebody else make that point earlier. Yeah, no, that's an excellent point. Wally World, yeah, mercenary processing could be a good side gig for you. For me, maybe I should consider it. You gonna pay me to go protest? I'm tall. I can hold signs up really freaking high. Maybe I should care. Maybe I should respond to one of these Craigslist ads, huh? Wally World, where are all the pussy hats now that men are invading women's sports? No shit. I put out a poll earlier asking women what's more important, abortion or biological men in women's spaces. Danger, I heard that there are some classes that didn't get a graduation ceremony because COVID is not getting ceremony at USC because of the protest. Yeah. They're I think some college campuses like said no more classes for the rest of the year. From my understanding, Colin, Republicans are bad. They give money to Israel and Ukraine. Yeah, and freaking Hamas, right? Okay. RGS. You sent me what Netanyahu said about the U.S. in the 90s. You talking about when he's talking about like subverting the U.S. and how, yeah, like collapsing the U.S. from within for whatever reason. Yeah, I think you sent me that. You can't hear my audio? Oh, never mind. Okay, never mind. That was old. Nothing like the shills of the manic women to change the minds of cops. No kidding. Just yes. Oh, look, liberal brown shirts arresting protesters. Don't worry, they were just following orders. Exactly. USS Liberty, 37 service members and service members died and 86 injured and 3 civilians. Yeah, that was, yep, all covered up, all buried. Imagine if only they fired 5 torpedoes at that boat too, and only 1 hit. Imagine if all 5 would have hit. That boat would have sunk for sure. Al Jazeera actually has a really good documentary on it. And they're like, Al Jazeera? Well, yeah, but they're interviewing the guys that were on the boat talking about what happened. And okay, keep going here. All right, so this is this happened, and like a Fox journalist, a Fox camera guy got arrested, and this video is kind of going viral. Like people are like, they're arresting a journalist, and my thing is, it kind of looks like the journal. Right when it happens, it goes off camera, but it looks like the dude took his camera and like hit the back of a cop with his camera. That's an expensive ass camera, and he's responsible for it. So I don't know if that's exactly what happened because it goes off camera, but you guys tell me what you think happened here. So this guy right here, this guy with this camera with the arrow pointing to him. Let me go full screen so you guys can see it better. Okay, so you see this guy with the camera here? Now watch as, I think it's this cop right here, walks by. He gets up behind him, and it looks like he straight hits the dude with this camera, like with his camera lens. You guys tell me what you see. It goes off screen right when it happens, so it's hard to tell. You see that? It looks like he lifts the camera off his shoulder and like rams it into the back of him. Here, I'll even see if I can get like the right there. So you can see him right here. He's like lift the camera off, and it looks like he hits the cop with his camera. So he's right here, and it's this cop. So watch really quick. And then they arrest him. So the cop that was standing right behind him, that would have had like the perfect view to it, that's who arrested him.
Holy shit!
Who are you with?
I'm with Fox 7.
Fox 7.
Yeah,
What's your name?
Carlos.
Carlos, what do you think of this?
I think it's they were pushing me, and they say that I hit an officer. I didn't hit an officer. They were pushing. You know what I mean?
Kind of looks like you hit an officer. Kind of looks like it. I can't say for sure. It'd be interesting to see some body cam footage, but kind of looks like he hit an officer. So I don't know.
They're pushing me.
I'm a legal observer. What's your name and date of birth? We're going to send attorneys to you.
Has this ever happened?
No, this never happened to me. You know what I mean? I was just covering things.
Did you tell them you were the press?
Yeah, I told them that I was the press. This one says I was hitting an officer. I was not hitting nobody. You know?
They got the purple hair girl arrested. They got the masked girl arrested. All right, so that happened. This was at Harvard. This is just a funny scene because they just in pro-Palestinian protesters take over the courtyard at Harvard. And this is just kind of a funny scene. This is like LARPing. Headphones are hurting my ears, guys. I need new headphones or new ears. Let's keep going here. Okay, so this is from my buddy Dr. Human David Hemeti. I probably butcher his name every time. I have this problem like every time I try to say his name, but he's Iranian, and he he's an American, but he is originally from Iran, and he seems to side with he's more sympathetic towards the Israel side on this. And, you know, I tend to disagree with him on that type of stuff. But when it comes to California issues, him and I are always in lockstep. So I like him a lot. But he says, a brave individual infiltrated the group that has taken over Columbia University by pretending to be a supporter. And she sent me these videos and photos from the inside. They have detailed program and rules, no pics. What's an anti-Semitism teach-in? I don't know. You tell me. So, anti-Semitism teach-in. If I were to guess, I would say it's to teach people how Israel uses the term anti-Semitism to label people anti-Semitic to get them to shut up. That's what I would imagine that it is. That's a tactic I see often. Staying focused. So I got these signs up. We do not engage with instigators. Why? Their goal is to distract us and others from our movement. In giving them attention, we give them what they want. They will tire, we will not. Our energy and time are best focused on our programs, our demands, our community, our solidarity with Palestine. We don't need to outnumber them. We don't need to. We outnumber them. These guidelines do not pertain to violent instigators. Okay, whatever that means. I guess they are saying they will meet violence with violence. And so this is from his insider.
Like I felt uncomfortable planning this teach-in because we don't want to center anti-Semitism and Jewish experiences. We're just trying to work together for Palestinians, right?
So this is where everybody's pointing out the same tents that everybody has. There's so many of this exact same green tent, like somebody mass ordered these tents and sent them to the site. People are pointing that out. A lot of people. See a lot of the exact same tent. Who's funding it, guys? It could be multiple organizations funding different groups with different objectives into the same protest, you know. Again, I don't know what's going on. I'm trying to make sense of it with just like you guys are. Yeah, let's keep going. Keep going here. Almost through all the protest stuff. So this violence erupts on USC campus amid pro-Palestinian encampment. Let's see. Is it violent? That ain't violence. We saw the 2020 George Floyd riots. This was not violence. Go back to my narcissism screen. Let's see. Colin, I haven't seen that, but I will look at that. Al Jazeera. Yeah. It's on Rumble. If you just search USS Liberty, it's like an hour-long documentary, and they go through the whole thing from beginning to end and interview tons of people from that ship. It's a good documentary. T-Bone Tony. You know what's a genocide? Late night Taco Bell. I would need to decolonize my bowels. That's gross, bro. Taco Bell's so expensive now. It upsets me. I get the same exact. I rarely go to Taco Bell. I'll go there like maybe once every month or two. And last time I went there, I get the same thing every time I go. I mean, I'm 6'6", 230, so I'm a big boy, so don't judge me. But I'll get 5 tacos and 2 bean burritos. That's what I'll get every time I go to Taco Bell. The exact same thing. $15 last time I went there. Just tacos. I remember when tacos were like 79 cents or whatever, 69 cents. I remember way back in the day when I was a installer at Magnolia, we had to work in San Francisco one day, and I was super upset because we went there, and I was like, wait, tacos are more than $1 in San Francisco? I remember that being like, that annoyed me back then. It was like $1.09, and I only had like $3, so I couldn't get 3 tacos. I was upset. I still remember that very vividly. Okay, keep going here. All right, that didn't look very violent to me. Okay, so this video, this to me is like this person isn't there for Palestinian protests, if you ask me. This is a freaking Marxist, narcissistic, look at me, attention grabber, cult leader is what this guy is. I played this video, I think last episode or the episode before that. This dude, to me, this whole scenario here, and they're trying to push people off the campus. Like, this whole scenario here is, yeah, I'm not with it at all. This is like cult member shit.
So that we can start to push them out of the camp. One step forward. Another step forward.
Cult member shit. This is cult member shit. And then, so you know what? Like, to me, this screams crowds on demand thing. They all got their face covered. You got this guy that's, loud and outspoken and highly narcissistic, and he's got all of these people falling in lockstep with them, all the people that are in the front. To me, this screams like protesters for hire. This whole scenario here screams protesters for hire to me. They all got their face covered. Remember, like, not everybody at these protests has their face covered. A lot of people don't care to cover their face because they're like, yeah, we're protesting, we're anti-war. Like, why do we need to conceal ourselves? They're not scared of COVID. That's not what this is.
We ask that you please respect our privacy and our community guidelines.
Community guidelines, guys. This dude has spent too much time on old Twitter.
Which you have so far disrespected. And leave our camp. One step forward.
Cult member shit.
Have you gotten enough video? Because I look very pretty.
Oh, they're doing the snapping thing. Oh, God. Oh, these are the most annoying people on earth. These are not like all the other videos that we saw are college kids that are like idealistic college kids that are actually anti-war, pro-Palestine, want the war to stop, want the bloodshed to stop. This is not that. This is cult member. This screams protesters for hire, BLM 2020 protests. Same shit. That's what this screams to me. I wonder why the protests all look so different after this. Like they were only there for one night. Maybe they can only afford one night of paid actors.
You guys don't have to do this, you know? You're all here because we're here. Why are you giving us
We were
that
here
power?
before you came here.
I understand that, but you're doing what you're
Repeat
doing.
after me.
You're doing what you're doing.
I'm bored. We would like you to leave.
You just did that for me.
Repeat after me. I'm bored.
My name's Aiden. We're just actually trying to have a community meeting in a sec.
Right, it's the same
Have
video.
a conversation.
My name's Aiden. And they try to talk in this soft freaking ASMR voice.
Well, we're asking you nicely.
Why can't we be on the lawn?
Because you're not respecting the safety.
I'm on the lawn.
You're not respecting the safety. We have this giant mob of people coming at you saying that we're going to forcibly remove you from the lawn, push you off the lawn, but you're the one that's being violent or whatever.
You know, I pay to go here, and I pay for this lawn to be manicured. I pay for the lights to be on, and if you're a student, you're also paying for that, and so we're all equally allowed to utilize these resources. So why can't I be on this lawn?
I'm not saying you can. I'm just asking you if you can leave. Because you're not respecting the safety.
No, but that literally
You're not respecting the safety of. Shut up.
makes no sense.
You violated the community guidelines, which is grounds for us to ask you to leave.
What community?
Okay, so that was super freaking annoying. Yeah, I don't support that whole thing. Okay, and then this is AIPAC posted this, and this also to me screams freaking paid agitators. But AIPAC is trying to present this as if they're calling for violence here. They're saying the Intifada thing, which doesn't that mean like revolution or resistance or some shit? Doesn't like they're trying to paint it as if it's like a call for genocide. But you got this one too. So whenever you get somebody that's like up on a soapbox, whoa, look is me, trying to lead a chant, like the last video I just showed, and then like this, these to me scream paid actors. I could be completely wrong, but you know, knowing what we know about these organizations now that are clearly for hire, they will do, if you pay them, they'll go to any event and support your cause. That's these people just scream that whole objective to me. But again, I could be completely wrong. Okay. All right. So kind of all caught up on the Palestinian protests. Let's see. Danger. These people are definitely cultists. T-Bone Tony. Yes, I completely agree. They're freaking cult members. T-Bone Tony, you don't have privacy in public. Yeah, exactly. You encamped in a public place and you demanding you want privacy. Yeah, no shit. North side. Soros paid college students. You hate to see it. You don't know it's Soros. That's the thing. You almost discredit what you You almost discredit what you say when you blame everything on Soros. Like, could it be? Absolutely. But there's plenty of other really rich, super liberal people that would pay for this type of shit. So it's, dude, this keeps happening. So over on, you guys can't see, I can see chats from 3 different platforms, from YouTube, from Rumble, and from X. And so Colin and Northside's over on Rumble, and Colin, you're on X. You both said the same thing at the same time. Colin says Soros paid actors. Yeah, very, very well could be. But to me, just say paid actors, because then it's like 2 things that could be proven wrong. They might not be paid actors, and if they are paid actors, they might not be Soros paid actors, so take one of them away. I think, to say this, and don't say they are for sure, because they could be legit, but it's like they're too extra about everything for them not to be paid actors. Like, you're too, they're not freaking, you don't seem like college kids that are out there just being idealistic. You are too on point. It's suspicious. That's all. I hear this time, coach, but I think it's Soros. Okay. It very well could be. I mean, Soros definitely is a dude that does that type of thing. It's too well, B says, it's too well rehearsed. Yeah, I agree. I completely agree. All right. I got like another 12 minutes so I can get through some other stuff. So this is sort of is in the same vein. This is censorship. We're talking about censorship of, the internet, and with the whole trying to force TikTok to shut up, control the narrative around the Israel situation, Jonathan Greenblatt, this all started, like the TikTok thing. This all started when Jonathan Greenblatt's leaked audio from the ADL came out, where he said, this isn't a left-right issue. This is a young and old issue. And he's like, we need to get a hold of this. We need to get control over this. And, young people use TikTok. Shortly, and I think that audio is from December. And then shortly after that leaked audio comes out, everybody's calling for the TikTok ban. Who introduces the TikTok ban bill? Mike Gallagher. Mike Gallagher, that gets tons of funding from AIPAC, introduces the bill, gets it going. Got signed by Biden yesterday. And what does Mike Gallagher do like a week or 2 ago? He announces he's leaving Congress just in time for them not to be able to replace him. And where's he going? He's going to Palantir. It's just, whole thing's super nefarious. And then you got Steve Mnuchin talking about how he's putting together a group of people that want to buy TikTok. If they force the sale from ByteDance, Steve Mnuchin, if you ask me, he's intelligence agency, Steve Mnuchin, and he's putting together a group of people to buy Palantir. Is Peter Thiel one of those people? Or not Palantir, sorry, buy TikTok. Peter Thiel had a Palantir. Is he part of that group of people that you want to buy TikTok? Imagine TikTok integrated with Palantir, or Palantir integrated into TikTok. Just whole thing's just super freaking shady. But here's let's go to Michael Schellenberger. He says CIA recruit is pursuing global internet censorship as e-safety. The czar in Australia. This is like a 5-minute video from Michael Schellenberger that we'll watch here. We got time for that. And they're trying to censor that stabbing that happened on the priest. You guys remember I actually showed I'll probably have time to show that video. I'll show it as well. But that's what they're trying to censor. Palantir is basically Mossad. Yeah, it's Sauron. It's exactly what it is. And I have that. That's my episode. That's the freaking thumbnail I put for it. The Eye of Sauron. Yeah, it's exactly what it is. Danger and Colin, you guys are on different platforms, but yeah, Palantir is basically Mossad. Yeah, it's insane. And like, yeah, Steve Mnuchin, AIPAC, Mike Gallagher, Peter Thiel, Palantir. It's like this big circle of what the hell is going on here. It's super nefarious. You guys, if you haven't watched my All Seeing Eye episode, like that's where I went down the rabbit hole with this. That was I put like probably like 6 hours of prep into that episode. That was, yeah, I went down the rabbit hole on that one. So I highly encourage you to go watch that one. That's my All Seeing Eye episode. And I called it that because of the eye of Sauron. Yeah. Okay. All right. Let's watch the Schellenberger video, shall we? I'm a big fan of Schellenberger. I got a non-gay man crush on Schellenberger.
Hey everybody, it's Michael Schellenberger for Public. Ex-owner Elon Musk should be thrown in prison, said a senator in Australia yesterday, because he refuses to delete a video of a recent stabbing from the entire X platform globally.
When it comes to the tech billionaire, like I've already said, I think he's a social media knob with no social conscience. He has absolutely no social conscience. Someone like that should be in jail and the key be thrown away.
But what's truly disgusting behavior here is calling for the incarceration of someone for not censoring the entire global internet. It's simply not the right of any nation to decide what should be on the internet around the world. No president, prime minister, or judge, said Elon Musk, has authority over all the earth. He's right. Now look, it's true that violent content online can be very disturbing, and I personally think platforms should put warning labels on them and find some way to prevent minors from seeing them. I also think there's some real privacy concerns that should be addressed, but that does not justify the Australian government censoring the entire global internet of content it does not like. And violence is not the only thing that the Australian government has told X to remove. It's also targeted political.
Cheddar Steve, you talking about those aid that you just spelled it AIDS. That was funny. The aid that was dropped, the pallets of supplies that were dropped in Gaza that ended up landing on people because the chutes didn't open or whatever. Yeah. How many people did we kill? That was a whole other thing.
Speech. What's more, there's something really suspicious about what Australia demands right now. Australia is asking for the same thing that Brazil wanted, the power to censor the whole internet. Many of us, myself included, have long suspected that government censors around the world, from Ireland, Scotland, the European Union, would attempt to censor the whole of the internet, not just in their own countries. And they would do so by using the excuse that people can get around national firewalls with virtual private networks known as VPNs. Well, that turned out to be more true than I had thought or had hoped. Public has now learned that there's a formal government censorship network called the Global Online Safety Regulators Network, which Australia's top internet censor, Julie Inman Grant, who's an American, described at, you guessed it, the World Economic Forum. The group includes censors from Australia, France, Ireland, South Africa, Korea, the UK, and Fiji. But before getting into all that, it's first important to understand just how powerful this Australian censor is. Here's Julie Inman Grant boasting of her extraordinary censorship powers.
Yes, we do regulate the platforms. We have a big stick that we can use when we want to. They're going to be regulated, and they're going to be regulated in ways that they don't want to be regulated. So, we also have some pretty significant ISP blocking powers. We just had some new powers given to us.
In a different video,
I hate that lady already. Like, who do these people think they are? That there's so many people out there that think that they are so much smarter than you, and they should have the ability to dictate what information you have access to because you're too dumb to figure out what's real and what isn't real. It's like this COVID really shined a spotlight on all of this, the safe and effective vaccine, trust the science, all of this crap. And well, they were sure wrong about a bunch of that, weren't they? They wanted to censor misinformation. These people are insidious. I don't think they think that they are censoring misinformation. I don't think that at all. I think it's they want to lie to you actively and knowingly suppress what's true because they're trying to spin a narrative. And yeah, I don't think it's because they're doing it out of the goodness of their heart at all. They're trying to actively lie to you and suppress true information.
Inman Grant says,
in addition to be able to compel that takedown, to be able to fine perpetrators as a deterrent effect, and fine content hosts that don't take down this content.
She goes on to say that she is already working with Ireland, the UK, France, and other governments around the world.
We know.
And you guys look at the Europe's digital services, the Digital Services Act, like Thierry Breton and what they're doing over there, and then what Brazil's doing, what Australia is doing. The world censorship complex is getting out of freaking control. And now that they have passed this bill, this TikTok ban bill, it's written so broadly, they're going to be able to come after Twitter for it. They're going to be able to come after Elon for it, even though I think Elon has his own nefarious thing going on, but in a different way. He's trying to do this. Well, I don't know what he's exactly trying to do. He wants to make it like the WeChat. He wants to make it the everything app, but he does appear to want to keep it somewhat open and away from government censorship for whatever reason. And the TikTok ban bill was written so broadly that it's basically, if they interpret it as having any sort of foreign influence, they can say, shut that shit down and force the sale of it or ban it. That shit's coming for Twitter. Guaranteed. I don't know how soon, but that shit is coming. Freaking guaranteed.
We're going to go much further when we work together with other like-minded independent statutory authorities around the globe. With the UK, with Ireland, and with Fiji, in November 2022, we launched the Global Online Safety Regulators Network that has now grown.
Global Online Safety Regulators Network. That doesn't sound freaking nefarious at all, does it?
To 7 independent regulators, including France, South Korea, and South Africa, and a number of countries are serving as observers.
Inman Grant said that she had launched this global censorship body, the Global Online Safety Regulators, in order to unify governments around a censorship agenda.
November, and we launched the Global Online Safety Regulators Network so that we could have a forum to help us coordinate, build capacity, and do just that, but also make sure that while we're going to have differences in our regulatory schemes, there would be common values that drive us together. We want to prevent fragmentation and regulatory fragmentation. We know that's a challenge for the platforms.
Look at what it says behind her on the wall here. Committed to improving the state of the world. These are globalist people. The shit that Alex Jones has been talking about for years, the one world government, this is what they're doing. It's absolutely what they're doing. Go and read all of the shit that the UN has on their website about the Agenda 2030. It's all spelled out. This isn't a conspiracy theory. The UN has Agenda 2030, and it's like a 67 bullet point thing. It takes a while to read. It's like 22 pages. But read it. It's freaking insane when you read what the UN has planned. And to me, this is why they are going after Donald Trump so hard, because Donald Trump isn't down with the UN agenda. He's America first. I have so many complaints about Donald Trump, so many bitches about Donald Trump, but I think that is why they're so terrified of him, because he's not down with he's not a globalist. He's just not down with the global agenda. I mean, look what's right behind her. Committed to improving the government of the world. They don't mean like the state, like what state is it in? Is it a solid state? Is it a gas? No, that's not what they mean. They mean the state of the world, the government of the world. They're trying to do this little cute little play on words bullshit here. These people are globalists and they're psychopaths, and they want to create a one world rule of law. Everything, censorship, food distribution, energy distribution. Oh, wait, now that I think about it, they want to centralize the means of production. Sounds familiar.
As well.
This global censorship body gives governments extraordinary powers to invade privacy, not just censor. Listen to this.
what this legislation will give us the ability to do is to compel basic device information and account.
Oh, just look at these women. Like, do you think these are the women that should be in control of what information you have access to? These women here, like the freaking Karen haircut, the punk rocker Karen haircut over here. Then you've got the freaking, I want to make fun of her, but I can't think of a good thing to make fun of her about right now. These women think that they should have the ability to control what information everyday people like you and me have access to all across the world, not just in America. How is this? How are people not freaking out about this?
Information, and more and more social media companies are starting to collect phone numbers and email addresses so that our investigators can at least find a place to issue a notice or a takedown notice or an infringement notice of some sort.
Grant is working with these other governments to stamp out now virtual private networks, which millions of people in China and other countries around the world use.
You can use VPNs, you can use burner phones, different SIM cards every day. So it's going to be a challenge for a long time because, again, the internet's global.
So what she's really doing here is complaining about these ability to access the internet. They're looking to stomp out any access to the free internet.
If there is no such thing as a kind of global identity system, or even a piece of identity everybody can agree with, should we all be sharing our driver's license or our passports?
At that same World Economic Forum meeting, one of the European Union's top censors, a woman named Vera Jourova, calls for censorship to avoid events like January 6th.
The same thing, a reaction on the 6th of January 2020. I would expect that there will be.
Bitch, who are you? You are not a part of America. You shouldn't be a part of American elections. What are you talking about stamping out shit like January 6th? Who are you? The World Economic Forum is they have nothing to do with America. They have nothing. They're this privatized globalist network of psychopaths that, again, want to control every aspect of your freaking life.
Maybe some more thoughts about whether it's a really good thing to have the digital sphere to influence in such a way the real life and the behavior of people. And again, no big reaction. So, and in Europe, of course, we have our history. We had to take action against hate speech because what it is, anti-Semitism.
Oh, you want to take action against hate speech and anti-Semitism. I see where this is going.
Racism, LGBT, that the menu is always the same. I think that we have a very strong reason why to regulate. I will simplify.
Very strong reason to regulate, guys, because your hate speech and your LGBT. Blah, blah, blah.
Who is Jourova? Well, she's the same person that public caught spreading disinformation about a new Russiagate hoax 2 weeks ago. Who's Inman Grant? Well,
man, he does this. It's smart too. It makes me want to subscribe to his freaking page. His whole complete videos are for subscribers only. It's a good idea because I want to watch the whole thing. I'm a big Schellenberger fan. I should subscribe to him. I can't afford to subscribe to anybody else, you guys. I subscribe to 2 people. I'm considering unsubscribing from one of them. Don't tell him. Okay, let's keep going here. Do I have time? Oh, geez, I'm already over. Damn it. I spent 17 minutes on that. I wasn't supposed to. All right, you know what? That is, well, no, here. I do want to show one more thing. So, yeah, one more thing about censorship. I want to go to Amuse over on Twitter. I hate it when this happens. Sorry. So frustrating when that happens. Okay. Go back here. Yes, I want to show this. I do want to share this with you guys. Northside. When they dropped the aid pallets, at least they didn't get AIDS. That's a bad joke. It's terrible. Cheddar Steve, never forget when it gets jiggy, we outnumber them. I don't know what you mean by that. Did you just trick me into saying something I shouldn't be saying? Sounded funny though. Okay, let's I want to show you this one more thing about censorship from the Muse, because this is coming from our own government, what they're calling for here. This is freaking nuts. So it's actually from Thomas Massey, but he says, so you remember when they voted on the Ukraine aid package and then all the freaking members of Congress started waving Ukraine flags around? Remember this? This psychotic behavior? Like, I don't know. When our government's waving flags of a foreign nation in our Congress, that says something. It almost sounds like we've been infiltrated by a foreign government. But look at this. Look at these idiots. Freaking morons. All right. So this is from Amuse over here on X. It says censorship. Speaker Johnson ordered House Sergeant of Arms William McFarland to have Rep. Thomas Massey remove this video from X or face fines. The U.S. is turning into Brazil and Australia. So that's from freaking Speaker Johnson, the Republican Speaker Johnson that went back on his whole stance on the FISA bill, that went back on his stance about Ukraine funding. Well, this video that I just showed you was posted by Thomas Massey just to show all these idiots waving the Ukraine flags around. Speaker Johnson's ordering Thomas Massey to take this video down from X or face fines. And then everybody's telling Muse Muse says, it's interesting how many people think I just made this up. Yes, Speaker Johnson ordered Sergeant of Arms to fine Rep. Massey if he didn't remove the video of members waving Ukraine flags in the Capitol. So this is from Thomas Massey here. And he says, instead of fining Democrats for waving flags, the House Sergeant at Arms just called and said, I will be fined $500 if I don't delete this video post. Go fuck yourself, Sergeant of Arms. Mike Johnson really wants to memory hold this betrayal of America. Yeah, and it's his post says, this is the U.S. House of Representatives under the direction of Speaker Mike Johnson. Democrats are celebrating his total capitulation with no victory for securing our border. And he says hashtag MTV. I don't know what he means by that. But yeah, like all he did is post a video of his, like Thomas Massey recorded this video with his phone of all his idiot colleagues waving the Ukraine flags around. And then Speaker Johnson says, you better take that down or we're going to fine you $500. What the hell is going on? So like this goes to what I was saying earlier today. I talk about like tons of people tell Californians that you guys got to leave California. It's a lost cause, this and that. And it's like, okay, then America's a lost cause. California is still part of the country. California is still part of the United States of America. And everything that's happening in California will ultimately spread to the rest of the country. As the RGS always says, it's the blueprint. You're already seeing little pockets of Californication popping up all over the place. It's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when. All of this stuff that's happening in California spreads to the rest of the country. So us that are here remaining in California that are fighting all this bullshit in any way that we can, running for office, calling the shit out, trying to encourage other people to speak up and risk getting canceled, all that stuff, fighting against the madness that's going on in California. If you tell us to leave and abandon it, you're giving up on America at that point, because if it can happen in California, it's going to happen in New York. If it's going to happen in New York, it's going to happen in Washington. It's going to happen in Oregon. It's going to happen in Illinois. And then your entire country is fractured. You don't have a country anymore. What are you running from? Are we trying to save this country? If we're trying to save this country, we have to try to save California. So I get really sick and tired of people telling me you got to leave California at the lost cause. It's like, okay, then we might as well leave America. Where's the next best place? because if you're saying that, then it's just I don't know. Do you guys get what I'm saying here? You're giving up on America. You're giving up on a part of America. You're giving it up to the communists. You're saying, California, the most beautiful state in America, if you ask me. California is the most beautiful state in America. And you're saying the communists can just have it. What? Like, how? How did it come to this? So yeah, stop fucking telling me to leave California. I'm not doing it unless I'm absolutely forced to, unless I'm about to go homeless. I said at the beginning of the episode, it's like, yeah, I might have to fail. I might lose the fight. This show that I do, though it's not like hugely popular, I don't have tons of viewers. My X account grows a little bit every day, and it's very easy to figure out where I stand on things, which has made me very unhirable. It's like I'm caught in this weird, like, I'm not quite an influencer, but I also gave up my career. So I'm just trying to grind it out every day that I can. And like, I'm trying to build a clothing company, CaliBased Clothing. And instead of just having a merch store, I want to actually have a clothing company. That there's a reason I want to do that too, because I want to have my best friend involved. But if I have just a merch store, my best friend, then he's like, I'm probably going to get sued at some point for saying some shit on here, like get sued for something. Well, if I have a clothing company that's separate from all this, that's just CaliBased Clothing, it's separate from CaliBased the show. Can't sue the clothing company, can you? So that's sort of where I'm at with it. We're trying to build an actual clothing company. It's going to start off with just t-shirts and hats and stickers. And it's very hard to get this shit off the ground. But again, I got somebody here in town that'll do all of my merch for me. So it's like, not only will you be supporting the show, you'll be supporting me, you'll be supporting local small business too. So I'll let you know as soon as if I get it off the ground. This shit's hard, I do want to thank all you guys, because there's no way I would have gotten this far without you guys. Like, not just like you guys have supported me financially, which I am eternally grateful for, but just your kind words and watching the show and being in the chat, just talking with me and, giving me virtual high fives, like that kind of thing. You guys have no idea how much that helps my psyche, especially with all these trolls I got to deal with all the time. I got freaking Keith Olbermann trolling me. So it helps a lot. Like, it really does. It's you guys that just sort of give me a pat on the back every now and then. It goes way farther than you guys think. Like, yeah, I love you guys. I really do. You guys are the best. Like, I can't think of another way to say it. I love you guys. You guys are great. So all you guys that are in the chat, all you guys that are watching that don't say anything, please know how much I appreciate every single last one of you. You guys are amazing. Yeah, that's about it. That's all I got for the night. I will say, if you're still watching, give the like button a tap. That's always helpful. And if you want to support the show, if you're watching over on X, you can do so by going to my bio and tapping that little icon up there. If you want to tap that little icon up there in my bio, that'll take you to the best way to support the show and help keep the lights on, help keep the dogs fed, and all that stuff. So everything helps, goes a long way. But just watching, giving a thumbs up, pat on the back, words of encouragement, that stuff goes way farther than you guys know. It's extremely helpful. So yeah, you guys are the best. Love you guys. You know how we do it. Before we get out of here, we got to read a joke from the greatest book ever written, The Truth About Chuck Norris. Let's see what we got tonight. Before we get out of here, the RGS, Northside, Cheddar Steve, Colin, Danger, B Sizzo, T-Bone Tony, Wally World, Stacy Presley, Ryan Johnson. Hope I didn't miss anybody. Matty Bracco, always good to see you, dude. Mike. Mike, nice to see you. Thank you. I didn't see you in the chat earlier. I didn't read your chat. I apologize. Yeah, all you guys. Day of Reckoning. Always good. Always good to see you guys. All right. I will be back here tomorrow. I don't know what tomorrow's show is going to be about. It'll be a surprise for all of us. So we'll see what we got tomorrow. All right. Chuck Norris joke. See what we got tonight. Okay. Okay. All right. Chuck Norris joke of the evening. You guys ready for it? Here we go. All right. Sometimes, while setting, the sun will linger just a few more minutes on the horizon just to get one last look at Chuck Norris. And on that note, stay Cali-based.